Hi, and welcome back to Live, Laugh, Stuck. My name is Jackie, aka Jax. My pronouns are they, them, and I am here once again with Moosey.
Yay! Hi.
Hi.
My pronouns are also they, them.
Yes, and I don't know why that was such an ecstatic yes. Yes, your pronouns are also they, them. I guess it's also partially because the episode with your cousin just
Mhm.
recently came out, and that was also another they, them. I don't know, it was just a they, them podcast.
Non-binary culture is reading Homestuck.
I mean, yeah, it really is. So much so that it trans the creator. But we are here for the very exciting, to some people, Act 5, Act 1. And I say to some people because I'm gathering from your very subtle hints in the notes you sent me that you weren't a huge fan.
Yeah, every time, I would read through it while sitting in voice chat with friends, and then it would be I would be so slow at reading the pester logs and stuff, and they'll be like, "How's it going? How are you liking it?" I'm like, "I fucking hate this."
uh
This is my homework that I'm doing.
yeah. So it was like the long pester logs you didn't like, or the whole overall vibe, or like what did you not like about this act?
Honestly, it was just probably the pester logs and having to read all of the different leet speak that one really slowed me down, and two was just like a, mean to my brain. Like my brain did not want to take in the information or spend time decoding these texts.
Yeah, I did see in your notes you were wondering if there was a mod that got rid of it, and I'm pretty sure there is.
Okay, that would help
Um
my old person brain or my
yeah.
ADHD brain or something.
Yeah, it's either a mod or it's already a setting that's in there. But yes.
So maybe with 5.2 I'll turn that on. I feel like you had mentioned before that you recognize trolls based on their typing quirks, but at this point, I'm just like, maybe I can learn that later and just focus on what's being said right now and not.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It can be hard to parse. There is a lot of reading. Usually people just get invested in one or more of the characters, and that's what keeps them interested, but you not a fan of any of the characters?
Nobody has really been appealing to me thus far. Like, some people are just more annoying than others. But yeah, I didn't really feel any sort of feelings for anybody as I was reading.
That's in that's incredible. I mean, to be fair about the annoying thing, they are based off of like internet trolls, stereotype, terrible internet people. So I mean, that is kind of the point. I'm sorry, this is so fun for me. I mean, like, I don't even know why I'm so ecstatic about your just complete dislike of this act, which is where usually people are like, no, 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 skip acts 1 through 4, just go straight to act 5.
I'd still probably like John Egbert the best. He's just so doofy.
He is pretty doofy.
As far as astrological signs go, I'm an Aries, so I guess I like the dead robot lady the most.
Yeah, the dead frog robot lady now. I mean, Aradia is a pretty good one to choose. So I'm actually gonna make you go through all of them and tell me your thoughts. And Aries is the first one anyway. If you go by astrological and bloodcast order. So,
Oh, I have them in a different order, so you'll have to tell me which order to go in.
what order do you have them in?
I have a summary printout that shows red team and then blue team, and
Mm,
it also lists out their name, their role, their planet name, their online
handle,
name,
yeah,
their lucis, the way they troll the kids.
that's very good. Let's go with your order then, so I don't have to have it mentally in my head, and you have it listed out.
There's Carcat, which I guess I also like a bit more because he's angry, but also seems very stupid.
Yeah.
uh,
Angry and very stupid. Yeah,
Um,
that tracks.
yeah, some of them I didn't really get a good feeling for, like, the blind girl kept licking stuff, and that was weird and gross, like, kind of, adverse to tongues.
Oh, that's gonna be very hard with Terezi for sure.
I don't even remember very much about Gamzee except just that he's a juggalo or something.
I'm a Capricorn, so imagine me seeing it. So, like, I've said this before, like, on Twitter and some other places, but, like, I got so excited when I saw the Capricorn, symbol pop up and it was purple because I love purple.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then imagine my disappointment. I'm sorry to Gamzee stands out there. I love you all, and I don't dislike Gamzee as much as I used to. I, in fact, love the characters more and more each time I read this. But the
Mhm.
first time I read it, no, I did not want this juggalo clown troll man as my troll.
Yeah. Tavros seemed fine. I also didn't get a whole lot of a personality out of him.
Yeah.
It was funny when he got kissed. I like the animations.
Yeah.
I like the animations in Homestuck, you know, those are still pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like Vriska definitely had a lot of stuff in this act, and so now I know that the meme I had been hearing about her of Vriska did nothing wrong was incorrect.
Yeah, that's why it's the meme.
Yeah.
Friska does everything wrong and nothing wrong and everything right and nothing right.
Mhm.
Literally made to be a controversial character.
So, I mean, yeah, she seems to just be made to be bad, and maybe there were some things that were trying to make her look a little bit more, empathizable or something, but I
Yeah.
there wasn't a whole lot, I don't think. Also, I don't understand troll relationships, but we can get to that later.
Okay.
Kanaya, I guess that's how it's pronounced.
Mhm.
I didn't really get much of a personality from her either. I mean, I know she talked between some of them, but I just don't remember much about her. I know she's been trolling through the first part of the story.
I mean, she had that unrequited crush on Vriska because she got all sad when she realized she made the dress for Vriska and Vriska wanted to use it to seduce someone else.
Okay, I remember that part. I didn't realize that Vriska had premeditated the wearing a dress to try to seduce somebody to Travros. Equius? I why does he perspire all of the time?
He's just a sweaty man.
He seems pretty unlikable. Uh, Usually, I like the techie people or like people who can build robots or whatever, but he doesn't seem like a very friendly person.
Yeah, he's hard to like on a first read through.
Aradia, I guess, also kind of stood out because she had a lot more story stuff, but I also don't know a whole lot about her or her personality besides just being dead.
To be fair, that's kind of her personality in this act.
Nepeta definitely reminds me of some people I've known on the internet.
Yeah.
She's okay, but kind of where in that place where she can get annoying if she's too being way too cutesy or whatever about it.
Yeah.
Eridan apparently likes genocide, so I don't like him.
Fair enough.
Feferi, I couldn't fucking tolerate reading her fucking pester logs. So
Yeah.
I just skimmed through those between her and Eridan.
That's fair.
Cause yeah, I just can't stand reading those parentheses for H's. Solix seemed okay, but also not a lot of personality.
Mhm.
And then he died. I just noticed he
Kind
has
of.
two different color shoes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the people who stood out the most for me were like Karkat, Tavros, Veriska, Aradia, and yeah, I guess maybe Equius a little or something. And I know like Solix was in there a lot, but I don't know.
That's That's fair and just extremely I feel like you would have been I feel like you have the soul of someone who started reading this right after Problem Sleuth, and just like you were like you have the soul of one of the old school fans who are like, "Wait, what's with all these trolls? What's this about shipping? I don't care about any of this. Let's
Yeah,
go back to the coding puns."
yeah. Why are these guys getting in the way of the nerdy shit?
Extremely funny. I love that for you. I mean, I hate that for you because it does mean that I just don't know how you're gonna feel about the rest of it. Like, this was a big exposition act because, it was explaining everything that happened to the trolls before they started talking to the humans.
Yeah.
And they obviously, between the 12 of them, had a lot of, backstory to go through.
Yeah, and another thing with this whole sub act, I guess, was I thinking about it so far reading Homestuck, we've been waiting for the kids to get into the game. And then they're all kind of like in the game and getting ready. And then we start Act 5 1, and now we're still not in the game. Now we have to introduce 12 more people before we
Yeah.
see anything. And I'm just sitting here like 2,000 pages in, like, are we actually going to see anything in the game besides just little bits here and there? Is there going to be an adventure they go on, or are we just going to be sitting around talking about shit for forever?
Yep. Yeah, because Jade still isn't in the game.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm really excited to see what you think about Act 5, Act 2. I think it's gonna be more of what you want, but yeah, I'm not sure. So you said that you also didn't understand the, troll relationship stuff?
Yeah, and there were like two different parts of the story that had really long explanations for them, and I did print out the quadrant and I tried to write stuff down, but then I just didn't read the hussy explanation of it. I just couldn't.
To be fair, the second explanation is just a copy and paste of the first one, just all in one page instead of on, like, 4 or 5 different pages.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just like,
Which then, in the author notes, he copies and pastes that again, so
okay, yes. Is hating hussy part of the experience?
Oh, absolutely, yes. For different reasons. People will hate Hussey for conflicting reasons. Yes, hating Hussey is an essential part of Homestuck,
Okay.
I feel. Which, like, he kinda does on purpose to a point because, like, he does actively make fun of the fans in the comic in various ways.
Yeah.
And he makes fun of the fans in the author commentary, so it just keeps on giving.
Mhm.
I'm really sad, actually. I keep talking about author commentary. The last book that's out deals with Act 5, Act 2,
Mhm.
and nothing since. No word. There's been no official cancellation, but also like we're just kind of like, okay, well that's it. We're not getting anything from Act 6. So
Hmm. Yeah, when was the last book published? Like, how long ago?
was it? Yeah, March 10th, 2020. So like almost exactly 3 years.
And it's been 3 years since 2020.
Yeah, right.
Jeez.
Yep, yep, yep.
Well, I don't know. I guess you could blame it on COVID.
Can you though? I think there's plenty more that was going on in 2019, 2020 to blame it on. Because that's also around the time that it was announced that Hussey left What Pumpkin.
Uh,
So, like, that was another thing is like, oh, so are we not getting anything more? But I mean, also that's when like, it's been a whole lot. Other people have probably recorded the whole descent of Viz doing bullshit and just like because like Viz used to like really promote Homestuck stuff because I looked it up a bit today, and whenever they first announced that they acquired Homestuck in whatever rights, it's all weird. Geo has a post that explains it more.
uh-huh.
They had, like Viz had, like, on their booth, they had, like, Homestuck banners at, like, conventions and stuff. Like, they really promoted it as a thing,
Mm,
and, now it's just nothing, just nothing.
yeah.
So, I don't know. We're kinda hopeful because, this one cafe in California, Requiem Cafe, I think it's called, is hosting a Homestuck event for 413 and has, like, new official merch. So people are excited about that and hope that means something's happening, but I don't think it does. So that's where I'm at.
So speaking of 413, so John and them start playing the game on his birthday, and then the trolls start playing on Carcat's wriggling day. Is that relevant, or is that a coincidence?
So it's kind of in the way that, like, numbers are relevant. 6/12 is Carcat Day, so June 12th.
Uh,
So 6/12 will pop up over and over in, reference to the trolls.
okay.
I think it's said at this point, somewhere that their session lasts for 612 hours. It's just one of those 413 pops up everywhere, 612 pops up a bit less.
Okay. I was wondering if it
So
was related to, like, I don't know, the game triggers on a birthday or blah, 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 something.
it's more like solidifying Karkat as the John parallel for the trolls.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there might be more meta about it, or I could be missing something, but it's more just putting the parallels there.
Uh-huh.
Homestuck is nothing if not repeating the same thing but a little bit different.
All about patterns.
Yeah, patterns and references and in jokes.
So, my question for you is when did you start enjoying Homestuck?
I think it was Act 5. Well, probably like the ending animation for Act 4 was really big, and I think that just tugged on a big emotional thing more than like anything else had at that point.
Mhm.
And that got me hooked, and then I loved all the stuff. Well, I'm trying to remember. I think at some point I was frustrated at wanting to go back to the humans and figuring out what's going on with them, and especially towards the beginning of Act 5, Act 1, I had a
Yeah.
hard time getting into it because I'm like, "Okay, well, I have to start over with all these people." But as we got in deeper and again, Make Her Pay, another, like, basically end of act animation. End of act animations really get me, I guess is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, all the learning the trolls and the discourse between the trolls got me. But again, it's hard whenever you do focus on trolls that I cared less about than others. I don't know. Like at this point we're about halfway through. I think Act 5, Act 2. I can't remember if Act 6 is the entire second act half of Homestuck like lengthwise, or maybe about now is about half of Homestuck lengthwise.
Uh, uh,
But
yeah, because the last page it says is 8,000. Well, is this the Rapture in credits? That's Act 7 or something.
yeah.
8,130, and we just got to 2,625.
God, there are so many pages in this thing.
It also would have helped if I had a map in a way of like how much words are on each page. It would have helped me
Yeah.
to realize that the last handful of pages in Act 5-1 are just like mostly pictures and not having to like
Yeah.
yeah, being like, okay, it's not going to be another 100 pages of pester logs to read.
Yeah, that is hard. Cause yeah, sometimes the pester logs are just you have to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. It's so long. And sometimes, yeah, it's 20 pages of this hasn't happened yet, but there's a point later on where it's just like two characters looking at each other, and then they just like one panel is one, the other, and then the next page is the panel of the other,
Uh-huh.
and then it's back to the first and just back and forth, like zooming in for like several in a row.
Yeah.
That's why page numbers are just so hard to, like, go by, especially and then if you include that there's more mini games coming up, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So and some of them are kinda lengthy.
Mhm. Let's see. I'm gonna make a note to see if anyone has logged out how much text is on each page. I mean, because that can be done by a computer as well for the most part
Yeah.
to count that.
I feel like I remember Act 5, Act 2 being a lot more action, but I could be forgetting more of those memos.
Yeah. Ugh,
I mean, there's
the
definitely
memos.
more of the memos.
Those were also
There's
hard to
definitely more of the
follow.
memos. Yeah, I think I think really getting that mod that gets rid of, troll quirks, the typing quirks is gonna help.
Yeah, because like I can read books. I've read books. I've read lots of pages of text. It's just that when it's lots of pages of text and then everyone has different leet speak and then your brain has to do that a bunch of extra work of decoding everything.
Yeah,
Which,
yep.
if you're reading it fresh and you only got a few pages at a time or whatever, then that would have been more doable, I think, than just being like, okay, I have 600 pages to read. Here we go.
Yeah, it doesn't help that you were sick off and on in parts of it, so it's not like
Yes, also the brain fog.
the brain fog. Brain fog is real. I was just telling you that I recorded a TTRPG episode last night. I have no idea if it's going to be out by the time this episode is out. I no idea. Anyway, I created that character when I was in a sick brain fog. So I started the game up yesterday being like, "Okay, what's my character? What
Yeah.
who is this?"
I guess my last note about this, like the story from a meta perspective versus, I have notes asking for clarification on stuff that actually happened. But like something I've been asking myself with this and with Final Fantasy 14, because I just finished Endwalker, which is the last expansion for now, was like, can a story really be as good as people say that it is if it's not paced well? Like if the execution is bad, can the story still be considered good?
Yeah, even Hussey mentioned in the commentary that people had problems with the pacing of this act.
Yeah, with Final Fantasy 14, like everyone's like, this is the best Final Fantasy story ever. And I'm just like, the first three-fourths of each expansion suck, and then the last part is good.
Yeah.
I know part of the constraints here are like with Final Fantasy, it's an MMO, so you have to give content to play. And with Homestuck, it was a web comic, so it wasn't like, you know, a book where you write the whole book and then you send it to an editor to make it better.
God forbid anyone try to tell Hussey to I can't imagine an editor trying to deal with Hussey, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
The guy just talks like that. Because we have access to like some emails that they've sent between people of like very serious things. And that's just how Hussey talks.
Hmm.
I don't know if an editor would help. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like how, like, some books, like, the book series get popular, and, like, the first couple of books are, like, edited pretty well, but then they get too popular, and so the author gets to reject things more, and so the
uh
editing gets a lot worse. Hussey would be like that from the start.
and like I am keeping in mind that yeah, this is a web comic, and this, you're kind of getting a different experience reading it now versus when it was brand new. Like there are still things I appreciate about the web comic, but I'm also just like, okay, here's my homework. I gotta read Homestuck.
Yeah. I think it would be funny. I feel like I said this on the last episode too, but I'm gonna say it again because I can't remember. But I think it'd be funny to just like on 413, like do that Dracula Daily thing and just like release however many pages of Homestuck came out on 413, and then on every day, like release those pages and just like you get the experience as if
Uh-huh.
you were first reading it. And then there's one point in Act 6 that we went months and months without getting an update. And so it's like you would just get months and months and just not have a Homestuck update, and then you get it.
So I have questions about the story just to like clarify stuff as well.
God, especially if you just skimmed through like what Feferi was saying. Like, yeah.
I did read through the summary from the
Oh,
Rafe or
cool.
Rafe.name page. Probably 100 not 100 points, 100 pages from the end, maybe ish, is where I stopped and just read the summary and then I continued reading. Okay, so there is a space demon, and the space demon has followers.
Mm-hmm.
The space demon gets summoned when the universe is destroyed because of a tilde death program virus. The demon is called Lord English, and then are is the demon that stops them from opening the door also the same demon?
So that is supposed to be vague. And I also want to point out that there are unreliable narrators in Homestuck. People who think that they're saying true things, but also have their own limited knowledge.
Okay.
But at this point, it's supposed to be a theory crafting thing.
Okay. So from what I gathered, something that the kids did, and I forgot what, if it was mentioned at all. Something that the kids did caused the scratch? Question
Again, you're not
mark?
supposed to understand this at this point.
Okay. But basically that's why the trolls are trolling the kids, is because they somehow got in the way of them being able to open that door by summoning the demon thingy.
Yeah, this is going to be Act 5, Act 2 is where
Okay.
you're going to explain all this.
Okay. What am I supposed to know what a scratch is yet?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I
And I'll
just
give you a hint. It's being used incorrectly. So you're not supposed to know what it is, and even if you did, it's wrong.
Yeah, they just have the gif of the flashing blob behind the timeline log. And I'm just like, I guess that's the scratch. I don't. And then or S Grub was found in the ruins
Mhm.
and then adapted, I think, by Solix or something. I don't remember exactly where the game comes from for the kids themselves.
It was just a game that was released and was, like, talked about in a game magazine. So, like, you don't know any farther than that, except that it was being I don't think so. I think it's just, like, it was just a normal game being released.
So, I mean, I clearly we don't know yet, but I'm just wondering if like it was made by the demon or demon followers or something like that. I'm just still very interested in like what the fuck is Scrub and Spurb and how did they
Mhm.
come to be and how are they related to the real world in the story? Let's see. I already asked why Aqueous perspires so much. It's like
Yeah,
that keeps
Equius is just a sweaty man.
and then also like Aurelia has a bot, Jade has a bot. Is there a relationship between the bots, or just does Hussey only know how to draw robots in one way?
Nah, Hussey just knows how to draw robots in one way. I think it's just, like, a lot of the author commentary talks about the parallels between various kids
Hmm.
and the trolls, and Jade just has a lot of parallels with Aradia and, Kanaya
Hmm.
and, Nepeta. I think were the 3 main, characters that had Jade parallels.
Okay, so if we take 12 divided by 4, each kid has 3 trolls that related to it.
I don't know if that's actually, like, an on purpose thing. I only remember Dave being mentioned in relation to Aridin and Solux,
Hmm.
and then John with Karkat, of course.
Yeah,
But, yeah, I don't know if it's as clear cut as that.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of I'm just perhaps like I'm less interested in the troll characters and I'm more interested in the world itself and
Okay.
that whole how that's put together. And then the till death programming language doesn't make sense.
Yeah, yeah. It was more
But
just a nice pun.
yes, I suppose.
It was more just a pun. Is that better? Take away the word nice?
Sure. It was period.
Yeah, so Act 5, Act 2 does deal more with the world building,
Hmm.
for sure, but, every time that Homestuck answers one question, it asks 5 more.
Uh-huh.
So, I don't know how satisfying it's going to be for you necessarily.
Oh my god. Uh looking at the Rafe.name page. So Act 5-1 is 636 pages with 62,000 words in text. 5-2 is 1,481 pages with 150,000 words in text.
Jesus Christ.
I'm really gonna have to pace myself.
Yeah, pace yourself and install that fucking, mod or
Hmm.
feature, whichever it is.
Yeah. And part of me is
Um,
wondering if I should kind of like because the synopsis seems to be on this page anyway, also in the same order as the comic. It doesn't seem to like jump ahead much. Like maybe I should read part of the synopsis before reading the comic to be like this is what I'm actually seeing because I don't comprehend what I'm seeing when I'm reading the comic. I'm like I don't and I read the summary after I'm like, "Oh, that's what's happened."
that's up to you. I don't know, just on your basis on how much you want a pure experience or don't care about spoilers. I will say I don't know how many of the words might be technically optional, but there is a mini game where you run around and can talk to characters, and you
Hmm.
don't have to talk to all of the characters.
Yeah. Well, the
So I
words
don't
in
know.
media for 5-1 is 1,000, but the words in media is 24,000.
Oh, that's right. That would be media rather than text. I was hoping there'd be something there. And that also, I mean, not that it would necessarily account for that big of a gap, but the recap is also oh, there
Okay.
there are 2 recaps in this.
Okay. How lovely of Hussey for them to recap things for us periodically.
Yeah, this might be the last one. I don't remember that continuing in Act 6.
Mm. Then it also lists end of Act 5, which is 29 text, 29 words, and a recap. Maybe it's a recap? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Mm.
That is funny. It's just so many fewer pages, but like just so many words.
It's almost like double the pages from 5.1, but like maybe 3 times the amount of text, it feels like. Well, not quite, but yeah. I'll have to just do some division and figure out like when we're gonna record next and just try to read every day.
Yeah. I mean we can take it slower. I've been splitting up the episodes to where it's like, because we release an episode every 2 weeks, but I've had like a fan stuck episode. So it's been like one of our episodes really releases like once a month. Just to give us more space, especially with my move kind of messing stuff up for me.
Yeah.
I'm really just like sitting here trying to figure out if you're going to feel more satisfied on explanations at the end of Act 5, Act 2, or if it's going to be.
If I can install that mod and if I can pace myself and not try to read like 200 pages in one sitting at a
Yeah.
time, it might go a lot better for me. I just tend to not read it more casually because I have to like get out my notebook and then get out my stickers of all the troll heads so I can keep track of who is who when I'm writing my notes, and then get out my troll reference sheet and all of that. So it's not like I just sit here and read it for funsies. It's homework, like writing notes and stuff. But if I were reading it without taking notes, I feel like I'd just be completely lost.
That's fair. There's a lot to keep track of.
But I just have the feeling like it's a more satisfying read the second time around.
Yeah, especially since like, there's foreshadowing both intentional and unintentional on Hussey's part that
Hmm.
you start putting together, or you just start like just things click into place a lot easier. And yeah, like this time, like I said, I didn't even read the entirety. Like when I started reading Act 5, Act 1 this time, I started reading literally every word, and then I'm just like, no, I'm just skimming and I'm gonna read the author commentary. And then I've talked about it a lot on Twitter. I've been posting on Dirkification my
Mm.
thoughts, which is mostly there's just a bunch of Vriska meta that doesn't even make sense, that we just can't even get into yet, because like there's so much for Vriska's arc that, I mean, you just haven't seen, so it's hard to get into
Yeah.
Vriska meta. They're just characters that Hussey likes and doesn't like, and he tries to play it off in the author commentary that no, they don't like hate characters and things aren't happening to this character because they hate this character. Blah blah. Blah. And I'm like, no, but you do express disdain for certain characters actively.
Hmm.
I don't know. Author commentary is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many doomsday devices in Act 5, Act 1 that I just forgot about. Like, there's the code that Arcat runs that Solix gave him,
Yeah. The virus.
that Doom universe. There is the doomsday device that Vriska created, like started to create for Eridan, and then I don't know if it said in text, but in author commentary, apparently Equius actually did most of the work on the doomsday device, which led me to say, like, okay, so Vriska wanted to take credit for Iradiabot despite having not actually worked on it,
Uh-huh.
and is taking credit for making this doomsday device for Eridan that she actually didn't do most of the work on, and just repeatedly likes to take credit for things that she didn't actually do. So is Vriska the Thomas Edison slash Elon Musk of the troll world? Food for thought.
Yeah.
But for doomsday devices, there's also whenever Terezi's Lussus egg hatches, that drops a big old skull on a doomsday device.
Oh yeah.
And then there's the what is it called? The ultimate glub or whatever.
Yeah. The something glove.
I should know it because it's a word that gets used. The vast glub.
The vast glove.
The vast glub that destroys all of troll kind.
What? Why does the Lucis do that? I know it was dying, but
So I forget if it's clear in the thing, because again, I read most of the author commentary, but that's actually a horror terror that got put on the planet.
was that related to that book that Rose had? A horror terror.
Yeah, so the book was originally just supposed to be a jokesy joke, like, "Haha, look, it's like a H.P. Lovecraft, but it's not." And then they just ended up turning into a real thing.
Mm.
But yeah, just lots of doomsday devices.
Mhm.
I do like how there are tragic events in Homestuck that are just portrayed humorously. I don't know, it's very funny, like, Terezi's Lus's, like, being born and immediately dying
Mhm.
is captioned with unsurprising development, and then Terezi reacting to it is with genuine distress to show, like, yes, this is tragic. Terezi is upset about this, but it's also fucking funny. And then, like, Vriska getting her eye and arm blown off is fucking funny because she's like, "How am I gonna die?" And the ball's like, "I'm gonna blow up in your face." And then it blows up in her face, and it's very funny.
Mhm.
And I just like that.
But then she didn't die.
Yeah, she didn't die. Oh, yeah, one of the characters that Hussey unapologetically loves and, like, roots for all the time is Equius, which is extremely funny to me.
Hmm. The sweaty one.
The sweaty one. Also, this will become more apparent as we continue to read Homestuck, but, Hussey pointed out a line that they saw online. Someone else described these 2 characters, but Terezi is chaotic lawful and Vriska is evil good.
Huh. Like evil lawful or just chaotic good?
No, like, that's the thing is they just, like, don't subscribe to, like, the typical, like, thing, so it's so Terezi, chaotic lawful, Vriska, evil good.
Uh-huh. Okay, I see.
I do want Nepeta's shipping chart. I wish we had the whole thing,
Yeah.
her whole shipping wall. I think that would be fun, especially because she has, like, little notes on it and stuff.
Why does she have a shipping wall?
She's just one of the people who ships her friends.
Uh, I read somewhere that you shouldn't be shipping real people. But I guess these aren't real people.
See, yeah, I also think that, like, I don't think you should make you shipping other people their problem. I think
Yeah.
it's only natural that you secretly ship other people.
Yeah.
I think you see 2 people and just go,
I have two friends. I'm like, you guys have chemistry, but you're not admitting it.
"Yeah, I think that's fine as long as you don't make it their problem." Which, Nepeta just has her wall in her own cave far away from everyone else and just updates it.
Mhm. Weird.
Yeah. I mean, she is supposed to be the weird furry shipper, right?
Mhm. Yeah. As far as like the troll romances, how much is that going to come into play?
Like the quadrants
Yeah.
or just the shipping in general?
Oh, I mean like the quadrant types and what each type means.
No, I mean, it's more there as a running gag that, like, you'll have the humans like John there who will just not understand it. Like, there's still gonna be references to it, but, like, I don't think Homestuck ever operates on you being forced to understand their quadrants.
Okay.
Like, people get into arguments about which quadrants people actually fit in and how to interpret those and stuff like that, but that's more for, like, fandom meta than it is in the comic. You need to understand this for sure.
Mhm.
I don't think that it's super required. Like, I think the 2 main ones that is, like, sometimes you like people in a way that you like them, and sometimes you like people in a way that you hate them like them. Are them and then sometimes you like people in a way that's really just seems like best friends, and me saying that will get me massacred online.
Mhm.
And then the 4th way, no one fucking knows.
Yeah.
People will tell you that they know how it works, and some people might, but yeah, no, it's not, I don't know, like, it comes up, the different flavors of the relationship, but, like, it's usually met with, "I don't know if this is actually how it's supposed to work. It seems really weird and bad maybe. I don't know." Yeah, I don't think you not understanding how it works is going to hinder you at all.
Okay. Because that wall of text, I was like, Hussy, why are you doing this to me?
Because Hussey hates you and everyone else who has ever read Homestuck or ever wants to. Also, so one fun thing from the commentary is so Eridan is Aquarius, right?
Uh huh.
And so Aquarius is one of those. So like sometime in I believe it was like the medieval period, someone decided to add elements to the zodiac, right? It did not. originally back in like the ancient Greece times did not have elements ascribed to them as far as I'm aware. But sometime they decided to add it. And so that meant that you had some clear water signs that they did not make water because they couldn't have a cup of water back to back. So Aquarius ended up being an air sign. And Hussey was very mad about that. But that's why Eridan's seahorse dad flies. And why some other aquatic like Lusci fly is because Aquarius is an air sign.
uh,
And that's just very funny to me.
is that also why he hasn't been underwater very much?
Yeah, I think that's what it said. If not, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say that that's what it said.
Yeah, it was something like Feathery or something said, like, for someone who hates the land dwellers, you spend a lot of time up there or something like that.
Yeah, no, he for sure mainly stays above water. It's just so dumb. I say this also as a Capricorn who is a literal like fish goat. Like I
Uh-huh.
got a fish tail and I'm an earth sign.
Well, clearly the people assigning elements just did not foresee the Homestuck.
Yeah. I mean, really, they just I don't know. I'd have to research it to really figure out what they were thinking, but it really just feels like they didn't want like all the water signs back to back, like next to each other. So they had to split it up, like, earth, air, water, fire. And it just didn't work out for the actual symbolism that was there.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta have the water signs back to back.
Yeah. Which is really to say, if you're into the occult, neo-paganism, whatever, just throw it all away and do whatever you want with it. People back then didn't know what they were saying. You can say. You can have the say now. They're just as dumb as you are.
Indeed.
Side tangent to my non-existent occultist podcast. Okay, yeah, I think that's all the relevant stuff. Just a lot of it was me copying and pasting Vriska meta. Because Vriska just she's a complicated character, but there are just fans out there who refuse to see her or any character as a complicated character, and it's very frustrating. I mean, you've heard the did nothing wrong meme. A lot of people say that like tongue in cheek. Some people say that and they mean it.
Mm.
So in other media, are you a big like shipper person?
Usually, I'm pretty oblivious. I don't necessarily know if there's undercurrents of feelings there until it's not in the subtext.
Yeah. Do you and you don't do any like personal shipping, even if there's no like intentional chemistry? You don't do any pairings yourself? No shipping wall?
I was trying to think of like what media I've even watched recently to do that, and like I watched through Shadow and Bone recently, but I'm just like I like the relationships that are already here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I can't think of. Let's see. Oh, I guess again in Final Fantasy 14, I want Sid and Nero to be boyfriends, but that's like
Nice.
really the only thing I can think of.
That's fair. It's not everyone's big thing. Big thing in Homestuck because we have so many characters.
Yeah.
So many characters. This isn't even all the main characters yet.
Oh, good.
Yeah. In case you were worried, you're like, I don't think there's enough characters introduced yet. Fear not. There are more main characters to be introduced.
I need to start that spreadsheet of main character information.
Yeah, it and it kind of depends on how you define main character. I personally say there are 6 more main characters to be introduced,
Uh-huh.
and it leads to a lot of shipping. Yeah, so overall, not a huge fan of Act 5, Act 1. Big ol' exposition, background, lore dump. Well, not really lore, character lore, I guess, dump.
Yeah. Part of it's also just I tend to read like again 200 pages at a time, and then I'm like I spend like half an hour on one pester log page, and I'm just angry.
Yeah, that's fair. Hopefully, there will be more world building lore next time. That will be
Hmm.
nice. I'm also trying to think because some of the media in text, not in text, some of the text in the media, might be hard to read.
Okay.
I think that's actually fine. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it might also just have a summary beneath it of what it says. I can't remember exactly. We'll see.
We'll burn that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and you can hit me up in between if you need some explanation of something. Or we could just wait till here and I can explain to you that Equius is just a sweaty man and there's no I
It's like,
mean,
why
like
why does it keep getting brought up? What is the relevance?
he's just meant to be this very creepy, gross seeming guy.
Yeah.
And being and like him
Also, what's wrong with
sweating,
his glasses or something?
yeah, he just breaks things.
Mm.
But it technically might have narrative symbolism later, which would be which I don't know, author commentary stuff for stuff that's just entirely not relevant right now. But I think it's just meant like he's a strong boy and accidentally breaks things. And
Mm.
you know, maybe his sweaty has to do with how he's has this like he's mutantly strong even for his cast.
Mm.
But no, it's just supposed to be like he's getting hot and bothered in conversations, and that is shown as him being sweaty and needing a towel.
Gross.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm sure all the Musk lovers out there are real into it. Oh, sorry, side note that I just remembered. So I had read earlier that the reason Tavros is in a wheelchair is because people theorized he was in a wheelchair from his first you know, the first like look that you got at him back in Act 4 whenever you just got like one shot of like the trolls that were doing the
Uh-huh.
trolling is for some reason his snapshot looked like he was in a wheelchair even though he wasn't at the time in Hussey's mind. He was not in a
Huh.
wheelchair. He was just supposed to be sitting at a computer desk, but part of the fandom just decided he was in a wheelchair and Hussey's like, "Yeah, sure." So it's really not Vriska's fault. She's not the
It's the
reason.
fans' fault.
Yeah. You guys forced Vriska to throw Tavros off a cliff.
Look what you did.
It's really funny whenever fandom stuff comes in because I didn't know that bit of lore.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Um, Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. No, I can't think of anything.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so plug your shit.
Go to moosedy.itch.io and look at my video games and zines. Thanks.
Awesome. And remember, guys, if you have any Homestuck project coming up, you can go ahead and DM me on Twitter or join the Discord and DM me or whatever, and I'll try to get you. I have some. I'm hopefully scheduling one coming up. We'll see if I do more. Um, and yeah, always out here to promote other projects. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you to Dami for composing the theme song and editing the episode. You can find more of her work at soundcloud.com/dominothief. Shout out to our fakest fan tier supporters, Danny the Spoonlord and Tezrak. You can become a supporter and receive early episodes and bonus content for as little as $1 a month over at ko-fi.com/jaxyax, or simply give a one-time tip. For information on and links to my other projects, head over to jaxyax.com. Thanks again for listening.